Hi everyone, my name is Justin. I'm going to be your SI leader this week for Bio 5B. In last week's lecture, we talked a lot about mammals and different tissue types. So we're going to just dive right in. Oops. Okay, so as you guys know, this is the last time we're ever going to look at the phylogenetic tree. At least in this class, it might come up now and then in your future classes. But here we're going to dive right into the last type of mammals. We have monotremes first. So monotremes, like Perry the platypus here, are a really, really old clade. They don't have nipples. They don't have a placenta. And most of the development takes place after they hatch. So when they first pop out of the egg, they're going to be really ugly. After the monotremes, we have the marsupials, like this jacked up kangaroo here. I'm nowhere near as buff as that kangaroo. They're the sister taxa to Eutherians. Fun fact about marsupials is that they're only dominant over Eutherians in Australia. Everywhere else in the world, Eutherians are dominant in both diversity and numbers over marsupials. They also have a very simple placenta, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner. I don't think they expect you to know all the details, just know the difference between the marsupial placenta and the Eutherian placenta, which we're going to look at right now. So Eutherians are the most common and diverse mammals on the planet today. My dog, Yuka, here, she is a Eutherian. We're Eutherians. They have a greater diversity over marsupials, like I said before. They're born at later developmental stages, so they come out looking a lot prettier. And the gestation time and lactation time are about the same. And they also have really complex placentas, mostly due to the fact that the placenta is connected to the mother directly. That's those weird little things popping out of the chorion. I think that's how it's pronounced. That's how they are fed and they expel waste. So now we have tissue types. First tissue type we're going to look at is the epithelial tissue. Looking at the slide at first hand, it might look confusing, but the things you need to think about are well, first off, the names of the different tissue types are in the name. The characteristics of the different tissue types are in the name. So if you know those, you should also know the names that come along with them. For determining where these different tissue types are around the body, where they are around the body, it's important to think about what the functions of those body parts are. My favorite example is the stratified squamous epithelium in the mouth. If you think about it, your teeth are constantly grinding, chewing up food, once in a while chewing your cheeks. So it makes sense for your cheek cells to have a bunch of different layers and to be what's the word? Floor-like tiles. Another example I really like is the simple squamous epithelium in the lungs. So what do the lungs do? The lungs exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide back and forth between the membrane. So it makes sense for the cells to be really flat, tile-like, and not have a bunch of columns. I mean, not columns, layers of them stacked on top of one another, because you want the oxygen and carbon dioxide to diffuse really fast without a lot of cells to go through, right? Next one we have is connective tissue. When I took the class, I remember there being a lot of, not a lot, but a few trick questions about connective tissues. So it's really important to familiarize yourself with all the different kinds. And it's important to remember also that, connective tissues don't have to be actual physical tissues, if that makes sense. They don't have to be solids. They can be liquids like blood. I remember a lot of my friends got that question wrong on the test because they thought that blood couldn't be a connective tissue, but it's basically anything that isn't muscle or epithelial tissue, or I guess also nervous tissue. Next, we have muscle tissues. One important thing to remember about muscle tissue is that it doesn't have to be like voluntary. Like I'm not constantly thinking in my head for my heart to keep pumping. You know, it just happens on its own, but it's still being triggered by nerves. Another example is the smooth muscles inside of your intestines. They're constantly moving around, pushing down your the food that you've eaten without you actually thinking about it. Nervous tissue, we're going to talk a lot about these later, but all you have to know is we have neurons and we have glia. Neurons transport info while glia protect and nourish neurons. That's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. I think it's really important in this part of the class to not start slacking off. We're going to start learning about a bunch of different organ systems in the body, and it's really important to like stay up to date because it's really easy to fall behind. All right, good luck studying, guys.